Hey guys, I am Sid from the new Hot 93.3 and I am sitting right next to Deborah Hill from CornerStone Staffing. She's amazing at answering all these questions if you're looking for that next job. And Deborah, one question I got to get to you here. When I'm in an interview, I'm talking to the recruiter, everything's going really well. One thing people really shut down on is what question should I be ready to ask or answer there?
Okay. There are a handful of questions that you will always hear from a recruiter. One is, what is your strengths and weaknesses? And let me tell you, everybody is pretty spot on when it comes to their strengths.
I can squat 200 pounds.
Yeah, something like that. Try and keep it relevant to the job. But the weaknesses always seems to be a challenge for people.
Okay.
And if you just spend a little time to think about your weaknesses, you can present them in a way that lets them know that you have put thought into it, which is important, but also presents you as somebody who is working towards making yourself better.
Right.
So, for example, if you say I'm a very competitive person, you can, instead of just saying I'm real competitive and I like to beat everybody, you could say I'm very competitive. I've learned to create goals for myself and I try and exceed those goals every day. So there you've given a weakness, but at the same time you've made it so that you are working on bettering yourself from those weaknesses.
That's really smart to do. All right, so throw out stuff that makes you look, well, no, you're being honest about it, but you are aware of it and you're working at fixing it.
That's correct.
All right,
that's correct.
All right.
A lot of recruiters nowadays, they'll also ask you situational questions.
Okay.
And they'll say something along the lines of, give me an example of a time when you had a difficult customer and how did you handle that? So we like to help our candidates and coach them on using the STAR technique to answer that question.
Okay.
So for example, STAR stands for situation is the S, task is the T, action is the A, and result is the R.
Okay.
So you start off by saying, you set the scene. I had an angry customer call and she wanted to cancel her account. So then you say the task was, it was my job to save this customer.
Right.
Okay. The actions that I took to save them were I listened to what she was saying, I empathized with her, and I was able to turn her attitude around. And then the result is that she was a happy customer and she didn't cancel. So obviously you're going to put more details into that little story about what you actually did to turn it around and to make her a happy customer. But you want to remember that STAR, because that fully goes through the process so that the recruiter knows that you have handled this situation before.
Okay, so Deborah, let me ask you this. Is it okay to make up a situation so you look better? No. Always be honest.
Yeah,
what if if you didn't have anything that happened, you could say, I never had an angry customer, if that's the truth?
Yeah. Okay. Well, if that's the truth, then you would say, I've never had an angry customer, but what I would do if I did is, and then
that's
go into
right.
that. Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't lie, because then it's just difficult to keep up with lies.
That's
it's
true.
better to always tell the truth. Another thing that we encourage our candidates to do is to create an elevator pitch. And an elevator pitch means that if you were stuck with the hiring manager in an elevator and you were going from floors 1 to 10, that's how much time you have.
Okay.
What would you say to them to convince them that you're the right person for the job? So what is that? 30 seconds,
Maybe.
1 minute?
Yeah.
So practice telling somebody why you should get the job, and that's your elevator pitch, and just have that ready and in your back pocket to pull out whenever you need it.
So is there a great time to use that? Is that the beginning, the end?
When they say, so why should we hire you?
Okay. And if they don't do that, you should just offer that. Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'd be perfect for this job because.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That would be fantastic.
I love if people did that.
Yeah. And then finally, during an interview, don't forget at the end to ask, what are my next steps? Like, what else do you need from me to make a decision? Or when should I expect to hear back from you? Because those are things that you sometimes forget at the end of a meeting. You're just like, okay, thank you. And you walk out and then you're like, oh, what happens next? So it's real important to remember to ask for next steps.
If people put their notes on a phone instead of, writing them down, should you tell the recruiter, hey, I'm going to look at my phone so I can get some notes?
Absolutely.
Not just grab your phone and look at it.
Right. Absolutely.
They don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Communication is the key.
All right. So these are some fantastic tips, and that's why we're doing this entire series. This is Deborah Hill from CornerStone Staffing. We're giving you some great new job tips for the new normal here at the new Hot 93.3. So make sure you check back on this series so you can get great tips and you can get off the couch and put pants on.